the first wicket to go.
Right, and certainly the winners lost the way.
Yes, and very soon after we had Melius departing for a well-paid Stefan Pascal, who is opening the batting for the Windward Island Volcanoes. Just to give you quickly the team: Skimani Melius, Kavem Hodge, Jeremy Salazano, Chadwick Descarte, Nicholas Redhead, Larry Edwards, Dylan Douglas, Stefan Pascal, Darren Ned, Asif Hooper, and Dean Brong. That's the lineup for the Windward Island Volcanoes. And for Nepal, it's Bortel, Asif, Anil, Padel, Gaishan, Jora, Sampal, Karan, Casey.
First delivery there from Karan worked down to the third man position at the back of Captain Melius, and the Windward Islands immediately off the mark. They're one without loss, and this is the first over.
Yes, and practice, and along with Kamal Eri and Saka Dakal. That's the lineup for Nepal, with just one delivery so far, and Melius guiding that down to third man, and the score is off and running.
So Stefan Pascal to take strike as Karan at the top of his mark, and certainly will move in this beautiful piece of sunshine that we have here this afternoon. We must reach out to our friends in Nepal. We've made quite a lot of friends in Nepal. Certainly a pleasure to have you viewing this live broadcast today, and let's hope that we got a very interesting game. One down the leg side has to be wide, I thought. Well,
seems to be brushing the tripod on its way.
But a good take there by wicketkeeper Asif. Diving away to his left, and ensuring that there was no additional runs to the total of the Volcanoes. They won without loss, and certainly will be looking for victory here today.
Certainly, I think they would want to come back and come out with a victory, having been defeated in the first two practice games.
This one's worked into that short third man position, now being picked up, and Stefan Pascal is off the mark. He's on one second run being scored here for the Volcanoes. And going back to the last game, after being 70 out without loss, they lost their way after Melius would have, well, after losing, was it August?
August, that was the first wicket to go.
Right, and certainly the winners lost their way.
Yes, and very soon after we had Melius departing for a well-paid half-century.
Karan it is. This time to Melius, the captain. This one is just tucked into the onside. Player comes off the mid-wicket fence. There was a possible second there, but Melius would have none of it, sending Pascal back into his crease. And the third single of the Windward Islands innings, they're now free without loss.
I think that was good judgment on the part of Melius, sending him back, because that would have been suicidal. Return was a good one.
A very good return indeed. As the Nepal team has been certainly doing a lot of work at the back of the field, a lot of catching. One of the areas that they certainly need to improve on, and the captain spoke about, is the ground fielding. This one is right up in the block hole, and Pascal is on top of it. Just pushes it back up along the pitch, showing some respect there to Karan.
Well, so far, a pretty good over indeed. 5 deliveries, 3 runs on the card. I'm sure that Windwards would want to end this with a boundary, but Karan will have different ideas. That he has really been on the button, so to speak, so far in this over.
Well, over the last 2 games, especially the last one, last Thursday, the owners of the Winners have been quite watchful early on.
And then start pushing it on. So we'll wait to see
what is their approach. It is the third and final practice game as Karan into Pascal. He just tries, but this one in more into the pitch itself and bounce into the path of Karan. Picked it up quite nicely, and that's the end of the first over, 3 without loss.
Very good over indeed on the part of Karan and Nepal. So starting very well. First over, just 3 singles. Melius is on 2, Pascal on 1, and definitely that's what they would want to continue.
We're going to without a doubt. So the Nepal team, when they are finished with this, they're going to be traveling to Houston, Texas. By the way, I understand that there was some significant rainfall. As a matter of fact, a superstorm was in Texas just a couple of days ago. Let's do hope that it has an impact on the infrastructure there, as the Nepal team will make their way up to Texas, Houston, to continue with their preparation for Cricket World Cup 2024. That's the T20 World Cup being played in the USA and here in the Caribbean. Here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we're preparing to host 5 games. And I don't know if you noticed that, but all poles are up. And this morning I noticed that one of the towers already had their lights in.
Well, that's a very good sign, because yesterday there were no lights whatsoever.
To this delivery, Melius up and over, and that's going to one bounce into the fence. And that's the first boundary of the innings for the Windward Islands.
Well, the practice was short and wide, giving Melius the room that he wants, and he deliberately played it over third man, one bounce across the ropes. And so pressure very early on practice, and he would want to tighten things up, but once he's loose, Melius would be attacking him. He's that kind of a player.
Well, you certainly can't give Melius that kind of room outside the off stump. You certainly make him pay, and such was the case in that last delivery. This one is well pitched up and wrapped him on the pad, but that certainly was along the leg side. No run resulting, and it's still 7 without loss.
So I would say a good comeback delivery on the part of Practice, and Melius is wrapped on the pad but angling down the leg, and really no damage done. Half-hearted appeal.
Pascal is non-strikers, and as Pascal is forced back here. That's Melius forced back. A louder plead as he was wrapped on the pad, but umpire was not interested. And well, Practice certainly created some early problems here.
Well, that one cut back from outside the off, and he was really in no man's land. Lack of foot movement there on the part of Melius, and I think he was saved by an inside edge.
So, as you said, a good comeback there by Practice, being struck for a boundary in his first delivery of this, the second over. But his last 2 certainly creating some problems for the Windward Islands captain, Melius, in that upright stance. This one, he drives, pass cover, that's going to find the boundary. Glorious shot, that's 4.
Well, he gave himself some room and really opened up the offside, and beating the short extra cover, who just looked at it. He had a dive, a despairing dive, and then looked at it, just go across the ropes for 4. So the second boundary in the over for Melius, then the total now goes on to 11.
Well, one of the things, of course, in this game is that you ought to be looking to hit the right spots. The moment you go, off, you're certainly going to pay for it, and that is what happened to Practice. So, moves in once again to bowl to Melius, and Melius drives outside the off stump, misses it completely.
Well,
so too does the wicketkeeper.
I'm looking, and it's buys.
It is. Yes, he missed it. So that's
so
4
to
buys.
the keeper.
So Asif, of course, up to the stumps there to fast medium of Practice, and not being able to take that one. So,
well, we saw in the previous game, Anil tend to come up to the stump for Practice, and had one good stumping, I think, in the first game.
Melius is wrapped in the pad yet again. Loud appeal there from the bowler, but the umpire not interested. They take one in the interim, and one more to the total is 16 for no loss. That's a leg bye.
So at the end of over number 2, 15 without loss. I think what we note there, 16 without loss, going at 8 runs and over. But the Practice getting that ball to come back into the right hander, and I think that's creating a bit of a problem for Melius very early in the innings.
Without a doubt, and uncomfortable there for Stefan Pascal on
it's like Airy. Kamal Singh Airy looks like.
Okay, the second of 2 Airy in the side
and
for Nepal.
Dipentra Airy, he got injured this morning, so he was pulled out. He was lined up to play. pulled out and Sample came in.
So Kamal bowls to Melius. Melius down the track, hoiks this one high. And it might just very well get to hand. It doesn't, but good work in the end to avoid that boundary. And 2 in the process. And there you see, of course, a bit of frustration coming there from Melius. He was certainly kept in check there by practice the previous over. And without even having a look at Kamal, went down the wicket and skied that one.
Well, really, a bit of a premeditated shot there, and really no need for it. It's still very early days yet. And but luckily for him, he got away with it. And he lives to fight another day.
Melius is on 12. This one is bowled. Neck and crop. Knew absolutely nothing about that one. And certainly that's Nepal striking early, taking the first wicket.
Well, I think if you looked at area a while ago, he's showing that that one was leaving the right-hander. Here you see it on screen. Very good delivery indeed. Melius tentative. That, in fact, that
Between
came
the
back,
gap, yeah.
go right between bat and pad, and losing the middle stump in the process.
Beautiful delivery.
He has to make his way back for 12. It's now 18 for 1 in over number 3.
So Melius had a good knock in the first game, 50 odd in the second. But this time around, only contributing 12.
And so we see Kavem Hodge, who had a pretty dismal time in the second game. He comes out to do battle.
Hodge, of course, has experience at the international level, would have traveled with the West Indies team to Australia. And certainly a Dominican who has excelled at it.
He knows what it is to be at the top. And the Windwards would depend on him to put a good total on the tins.
So Kamal Airy to continue. It's the third over to Kavem Hodge. Hodge works that nicely into the offside. Fielder comes off that mid-off position, and there's just one more. And
There's no run.
There's no run.
Yes,
Well,
it was well played, but
for a moment I thought it was a single.
it's shadowed there by the short extra cover, but tidied up by mid-off. So he kept things down to 0. So Airy looks rather exuberant, looks alive, and with that early success, surely would have been buoyed by that early success. And he can see that he's really running in with purpose in those steps.
Outside the off stump and slapped square the wicket by Kavem Hodge. That's a classy 4, Shallow.
Yes, it was wide and he just square drove it. And the fielders just looked at it as it raced across the backward position and into defense for 4. The total goes on to 22. And what a way to get off the mark.
Yeah, that's a top-class shot there off the bat of Kavem Hodge. Outside the off stump, and he rocked back and cracked it square the wicket. It raced across the outfield here at Park Hill. And the winning line is now 22 for the loss of 1. So, Kamal Airy. Fairly good first over. Troubled the Winning Islands captain Melius and plucked his middle stump out of the ground. But Kavem Hodge, certainly with different ideas, he races it, passes umpire Butler, and Hodge drives aerially, but this one finds the fielder there at mid-on. And in the interim, 1 run added.
Definitely, so it goes on to 23, and Hodge with that, he goes on to 5. Pascal, who has barely been a spectator in the last few deliveries, he comes in to strike. He's on 1, and certainly would want to put a decent total to finish this practice game with a good score under his belt.
Yet again, as we've lost the sunshine a bit, that's not a bother. And this one is driven into that cover position. Captain Rohit Badel is there to pick it up. That's the end of over number 3. At the end of it, just under 8 runs per over, 7.8 or thereabouts. The Winning Islands are 23 for 1.
Yeah, so I think Eric would feel very happy with his over. He picked up a pretty tidy over indeed, a successful one as well. At this level, you're going at under 8 runs and over. You can count yourself as doing well.
Trying not to make these batters too comfortable.
It's ringing the changes. It's a 4th over and it's the 4th bowler.
Exactly. So Gulshan as he does a bit of a warm-up, and one or two little changes being made in the field. But Gulshan is now ready, and this time the ball to Stefan Pascal, batted at number 3 today for the Volcanoes. In the previous game, he batted at number 4. And a young man at one outside the off stump who's looking to probably pull that somewhere over to make a mid-wicket area. Didn't get any bat onto the ball, and the total remains at 23 for the loss of 1. Saw the umpire just indicating that's the 1 shot for the over. That's very tall, and Nepal team that is more or less on the short side, quite a number of short players, but Gulshan is towering over many out there in the middle. To Pascal. Pascal hits this one high and hard. This is going to go into the long fence.
Hodge sporting number 22 on the back of his shirt.
So 6 runs.
Just lofted it over long on. The total goes on to 29, so Hodge means business. He hustles on to 11. Pascal still on 1. And Gulshan would be well advised not to come into that slot, because it was in the slot and Hodge making full use of it.
He will make you pay. So here's Gulshan. And Hodge swats that one. Same position, same result. And it's now 35 for 1.
Well, he advanced it down the track. Gulshan saw him, banged it in short, and he stood up and just swatted it over wide long on for another 6. So back-to-back 6s here, and the total hustles on to 35. And Hodge goes on to 17.
So Gulshan being taken to the cleaners. 2 consecutive 6s off the bat of Kavem Hodge. And now we see the player be moved from mid-on right back on that long-on fence. But Hodge has been clearing them a good distance.
It looks like the captain Padel, who has positioned himself on the long-on boundary.
Gulshan yet again to Kavem Hodge. Hodge lips this one. I believe he got something onto the ball. No run, as it was taken by the wicketkeeper on the first bounce.
Yeah, he looked to tickle that down to fine leg. It didn't get much bat onto it. And just a faint edge, and it went on the bounce to the keeper. So no run. In fact, Captain Padel finds himself at mid-off.
Having a word there with Gulshan. The ball is the 4th delivery of the 4th over. 35 for the loss of 1. The winner and Volcanoes batting first. And well run there by both batters. Drop at his feet there by Hodge, and Pascal responding well.
Yeah, good call by Pascal. And Hodge, not certain where it went initially, but Pascal called him through, and in the end got a very easy single. One that was really just at the feet of Hodge, getting that inside edge into his pads.
So 36 for 1 as Gulshan. It's a proper position there, off for a quick single, and it's now 37 for the loss of 1 after 4.
After 4, so he moves on to 2. He has been there from the inception. Kavem Hodge, he's on 18, really going at a canter. So 37 for 1, just over 9 runs and over. And really quickly, we have turning around. Let's see, will there be a change in bowling?
There is.
We see Karan
Being brought back into the attack.
seems to be brought back. So bowler's been given an over a spell.
Well, keeping them as fresh as possible by Captain Padel. Thus far, they've been all quicks. We haven't seen any spin from the Nepal team. Of course, Irie, who does a bit of spin, got injured during the warm-up, and certainly I wasn't part of the starting 11. But here's Karan. The ball to Pascal. Pascal drives, lovely shots, bisecting the cover and the mid-off, and that's 4 well-taken runs.
Beautifully played. He stood up tall. He's a lanky player, and he stood up tall, drove it on the up, between the extra cover and mid-off, and it raced away. You rarely get value for your shots here at Park Hill, and it raced away for 4 as the total hustles on to 41.
So Pascal immediately making a statement in this, the 5th over, as Karan turns down at the top of his mark and moving to ball to the young Grenadian in an upright stance. Down the wicket and pulls it into that mid-wicket position. They are looking for a second, but it was certainly not there. And there's Pascal trying to certainly mount the pressure, so to speak.
Trying to put the pressure on Karan. That's a few steps down the track and worked it out to mid-wicket and got a single. So he goes on to 6 and Hodge, and now comes into strike, taking guard from umpire Butler.
Butler, former St. Vincent, Windward Islands and the West Indies, left arm quick, and certainly doing duties these days as an umpire. Hodge down the wicket, and this might very well be out. Asif is settling under it, and he's out caught. He knew it immediately, and that's wicket number 2 there into the gloves of wicketkeeper Asif. And I should say a poor shot from
Definitely, it was premeditated, really totally uncalled for. He down the track. I think Karan saw him moving very early, banged it in short. He went through with the shot, got a top edge, and easy catch for the keeper. It's Kylie, just didn't have to go anywhere, just waited on it and gloved it nicely. The Windwards now finds themselves at 42 for 2.
All right, 42 for the loss of 2. It would be nice to see that replay. As there we see Pratish and the keeper there having a bit of a beverage, as we've lost a bit more of the sunshine as you get that aerial view here of the beautiful Park Hill playing field. And there you go, yes. Wild swing at it, getting that top edge, and immediately walked away because he knew what he had done, and into the gloves of the wicketkeeper. Wicket number 2 going down there for the Volcanoes.
Yes, and it looks like Jeremy Salazano makes his way out to do battle. A left-hander. 42 for 2 after 4.3 overs.
So this delivery, Salonga is tucking it nicely down to deeps, backward square leg, and nice return coming in there. So he's off the mark. Jeremy Salonzo, Trinidadian.
Salazano, yes, Trinidadian. So he's off the mark on 2. The total now on to 44.
Of course, the Volcanoes being a regional franchise. And Salazano, who at one time certainly had a call up for the West Indies. He's on strike. He's on to his Karan. This delivery is outside the off stump, and it's, well, signal was
one shot over the shoulder.
right.
And Salazano just watches it go by outside the off stump. I think he was anticipating wide, called by umpire Butler, but Butler would have none of it. He's in the perfect position, so to make the judgment call. And as we see that aerial view of Park Hill here, with the pole by center in the background.
Karan. Ball to Salazano once again, and this one he drives. And don't think that was the intended error, but Captain Fidel is there. They got a single in the process.
Inside edge.
It's now 45 for the loss. Or was it 44?
45 at the end of over number 5. So still going at 9 runs and over. And certainly the Windwards having a pretty good start. And let's see. Now Kamal Airy is going to pick it up from the northern end. So he's been switched around.
So Airy pulled up beauty to get rid of the Windward Islands captain in Kemano Melius. One that cut back between bat and pad and plucked middle stump out of the ground. That is contributing 12. Total now is 45 for the loss of 2. And Airy this time from the northern end for the first time here today at the Park Hill playing field to batter who.
And he's out caught behind. Yes. Beautiful delivery.
Yes.
And he was fishing at it again. The lack of foot movement on the part of Salazano. He fished at it, taken the outside edge. Good catch there by wicketkeeper Anil. And Windwards into further trouble at 45 for 3.
Well, Irie indeed keeping things irie for this Nepal team. And the Windward Island Volcanoes in this the 6th over, early in the 6th over, they're 45 for the loss of 3. Going with a fairly good click. But if they continue to lose wickets as rapid as they are at this point in time, certainly will find themselves pretty much short of the required runs here at the pass score here at the Park Hill playing field. I should say 180 plus, you should be fairly comfortable. But the Windward Islands, as they are doing at this point in time, will certainly look to be doing much better.
Well, definitely. And we see Dylan Douglas makes his way out to do battle. I think he has been promoted in the order. I think the previous games he batted somewhere around number 7. But he's now coming in at number 5. And Airy having success immediately. So he has picked up 2 scalps so far. And putting the Windward Island Volcanoes under some pressure. At 45 for 3. 5.1 overs.
Did you see him in the last 2 games?
No, he did not play in the first 2 games.
Yes.
And so he has now gotten the opportunity and grabbed it with both hands so far.
Making a very good impression here. Airy, this time to Douglas, and Douglas nudges this down to 3rd man. Fielders off the fence and limits the batsman to 1. Douglas immediately off the mark, 46 for the loss of 3. And it is the 6th over.
So Douglas just waited on it, opened the face of the bat, ran it down to 3rd man who is on the boundary. He got a single, so he's off the mark. And Airy makes his way back. He turns just around that 30-yard circle, so a pretty long run-up.
Pascal gets one that he, well, for a moment I thought he got a bit of a bat onto it. Such was not the case. And he lives to fight another day. Total remains on 46 for the loss of 3. Here, as we've lost even a bit more of the sunshine. So, the last 4 to 5 weeks since in Vincent Town there was hardly any rain, but yesterday we had a significant amount of rainfall. I was fearful that this game might have been impacted, but such is not the case as Airy comes in out the bowl. And this delivery hits it one high, hard over that, well.
Straight over extra cover. And it went sailing for 6. Out of the ground, it was pitched up. And it was deliberately lifted over the extra cover fielder and clearing the ropes for 6. And the total goes on to 52.
So the 50 is on the board for the Windward Islands. And a good shot there from Stefan Pascal. Showing his worth as a batter as he leans there on his bat.
To you.
Pascal this time is on the back foot and works it nicely into that mid-on position. But quick work there from, it looks like, Captain Fidel looking to break the stumps, but not successful in doing so. One more added to the total. It's 53 for the loss of 3.
So good running, good cricket all around. And you see Captain being very involved indeed, always in that a key position. And it was Bortel who was really closing in from that short mid-wicket position, but good judgment on the part of Pascal. And he got good response from Dylan Douglas as well.
Douglas now on strike. And this delivery, he pulls nicely over at, well, in a corner position. That's 6 more runs to the Windward Islands.
Well, once you pitch that short to Dylan Douglas, he's going to take it to you. And there it was short, and he was in position. And swung it over wide mid-wicket for 6. And over number 6 comes to an end. So a pretty productive over there for Windward Islands. I think some 11 runs coming in that over. This is now 56 for 3.
56 for the loss of 3, and they're maintaining that 9 runs per over, just about 9.3 runs per over after 6. So they're going at a pretty good canter, the Wooded Island Volcanoes. Of course, that statistic to the right that says 3 certainly will be a bit of a bother. But if these two are to remain there for the next 5 to 10 overs, certainly can
do some damage.
Certainly.
It appears as if it's going to be Saga Daka, who is going to pick it up. So we're going to see spin for the very first time in over number 7 from the southern end. So he'll be bowling around the wicket to the right-handed Pascal, who is on 14.
This delivery, he's forward and works it nicely into that vacant mid-wicket position, and they take 2 in the process. A bit of a scrappy work, but cleaned up there by the captain.
I think good running, a good sensible cricket on the part of Pascal. He played it with soft hands into mid-wicket, and he took off, and the fielder had to come off the boundary, and they came back for the second, which they got very comfortably. The total now on to 58 for 3.
So here is Daka, and that delivery again worked into the onside. They're looking for a second. This time the fielder is much more quicker to it. Gets a good, nice, neat return into the gloves there of the wicketkeeper, and it's now 59 for the loss of 3.
So good cricket on the part of Pascal, not looking to bludgeon the bowling, but just working it into the onside and picking up the ones and the twos, waiting for the bad deliveries, and then he looked to clear the boundary.
So, see a bird in the distance, flapping its wings, not on screen, but it's indeed a lovely view here. This one is to the pitch of it. That's Douglas, and just pushes into the offside. Finds captain Rohit Padel, and the total remains on 59 for the loss of 3.
Sun has disappeared, so rather cool conditions, but no threat of rain.
This delivery played on the outside, it could be run out there, and Daka missed the opportunity, because certainly Dylan Douglas was short of his crease.
Well, I think he had given up, but Daka missing the stumps, and in the end he just sauntered in.
Well, he's having a bit of a laugh about it, but certainly it was an opportunity for the Nepal team to pick up their 4th wicket, and now we see there's a mid-pitch conference taking place, touching of the gloves. There, Pascal and Douglas just reassuring each other that we need to be a bit more assertive in this running. And the play continues now. Dakal, Pascal, outside the off stump, and he drives lovely down to long off. Feelers off the fence. That is
Karan.
And 1 in the process. Total now
64 for 3. I think there's just 1 delivery to come. So a pretty tidy over so far.
Yes.
On the part of Daka.
Daka. This time goes to Douglas, and Douglas caught in 2 minds there. I think that one came back at him.
Well, it was pitched, it jumped, and it was spinning away from him, the left arm going across the right hander. And in the end, he just dropped it to where sealing it off would have been. And the end of a pretty good over on the part of Dakar. It's 64 for 3 at the end of over number 7. So still going at 9 runs and over?
Still at 9 runs per over. 9.2 runs per over. The Wooded Islands. And Gulshan will continue from the 7th end. So into this, the 8th over here, and Stefan Pascal settles over his bats, and Gulshan goes back the umpire, and this one he tickles it down to that short fine leg position, finds Phelan Karan, 1 more added, and it's now 65 for 3. The Wooded Islands batting first in this final practice game for the Nepal team. Of course, they will be playing 2 games here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Should be taking on the Netherlands and South Africa. South Africa in itself is going to be a challenge for them. Also the Netherlands.
Yes, I think they are going to come up against much stronger opposition, and it's really going to ask for a lot from Nepal.
Douglas forced back and works it nicely into that short middle of the position. Gulshan comes around to the fielding, and one more off the bat of Dylan Douglas. He's now up to 66 with a loss of 3.
WINDWARDS still going along, and they would look for a good partnership from these two, having lost 3 wickets rather quickly.
So there's Gulshan, and as you may see on our screens, it's a little dark, but of course good enough lighting for play to continue, as there are some clouds in the distance. But Gulshan with different intent. This one is pushed down to long on. The fielder comes in, gets the ball quickly back into the glove there of the wicketkeeper. And one more to the Windward Islands. They're now 67 for 3.
So far, a pretty tidy over by Gulshan, keeping things tight, just not giving the batters the room to free their arms. Dylan Douglas comes back into strike, and Gulshan will recall that he was short in the previous over and was dispatched over mid-wicket.
Let's see what happens to this one. Worked nicely down to third man.
Beautifully played.
Well taken there by Dylan Douglas. Past the keeper, past the fielder in that third man position, and that's 4 well taken runs.
Again, giving him the width, and he opened the face of the bat and really hit that between the third man and backward point, and it raced away. For welcome boundary by the Windward Islands. It's total now on to 71.
Gulshan being struck by Bong in the previous delivery. This one is lifted high, hard. It's gonna go into the shrub above the ground there. That's 6 well taken runs.
The total goes on to 77. So again, it was pitched up, and Douglas was equal to the task, lifting it over long on. The fielders on the boundary just stood up, looked up, and said, well, there it goes. And he cleared the boundary with consummate ease. It's now 77 for 3. Douglas on 19, Pascal on 20.
So 10 runs in 2 deliveries. Gulshan coming in for a bit of a stick from this to northern end. Douglas waits, delivers outside the Austin, worked into that
where are you going,
position, and well, really and truly wasn't a single there.
Well, he was struck firmly straight to the backward point fielder, and both batters took off and then stood in mid-pitch, and they just waited, but Pascal was able to regain his ground as Douglas was really gone for all the money, but the return was not on Douglas's end, because I think he had given up, but the return went to the keeper's end. The bowler's end, I would say, and Pascal got back easily into his crease.
So that's the end of over.
7 for 4. What Pascal did, it was tossed right up in the Yorker length delivery. He played across the line of the delivery rather than playing with a straight bat. He went across the line, missed it. His off stump knocked back, and Windward Island Volcanoes losing their 4th wicket. Now 77 for 4, as we see Darren Ned making his way out in the middle.
So Ned
had a little cameo on Thursday.
Yes. Youngster with some ability.
So Saka having some success with the very first ball of the 9th over, and it's taking out Pascal. So 77 for 4. Windward Islands in over number 9, and So Dakar will now bowl to Ned. Ned looks around the field. Ned is driving, beats the extra cover in Captain Rohit Padel. As if sweeping around the cover boundary, picked up, fires it in. Not taken cleanly by Dakar. And a single, the total goes on to 78. 78. And Ned, he's on 1. It's Douglas, who is on 19, comes into strike. So 1 to Ned, 19 to Douglas. Douglas works it out to mid-wicket, and they jog through easily for a single. Total now on to 79. 79 for 4. And we're in over number 9. So 20 now to Douglas. And 1 to Ned, who comes back into strike. And there was Ned reaching forward and just working it very softly on the onside of the pitch. And Dakar skips around and picks up Ned down there. A bit of gardening under cool conditions. And he's right forward to that, pushing it back to Dakar. So Dakar keeping things tight, having had some success.
Certainly. And Captain Rohit Padel would love for this to continue for extended period.
And he's driving out to extra cover. There is Captain Padel covering grounds to his right. And just a single. I think there's 2 runs coming in that over. So a very good over on the part of Dakar. And an over in which he also had the wicket of Pascal.
Well, a very, very, very decent over there from Dakar, and tightening the screws on the Wooden Island Volcanoes. They're 79 for 4. Very importantly, picking up a wicket in that over. And without a doubt, it's now a situation where the winner that certainly will have to consolidate. But at the same time, Nepal not taking their foot off the gas, so to speak, and certainly pressing on.
Well, looking to keep the pressure on. So we see a change in bowling at the northern end. And in fact, it's going to be Practice who will come back into the attack. And he'll be bowling to Dylan Douglas.
Well, Practice certainly had some early stick, especially from the bat of Melius. But this time bowling to Dylan Douglas. And pulled into that mid-wicket position. Fielders off the fence. Return that has Sunil jumping a bit, but was always going to take it. And it's now 80 for the loss of 4 in just the 10th over.
So 80. Douglas goes on to 21. Practice would bowl to Ned. I think if there's a light drizzle, but
very, very light drizzle.
Not anything for play to be halted in any way. You see Ned just marking his guard, taking his time, not to be hurried in any way.
Delivery that he's to the pitch a bit and just forces them into the onside. And one more resulting 81 now for the loss of 4.
So it's rotation of the strike, but so far Practice 2 deliveries have been on target. Just 2 runs. And Douglas comes back into strike. He does some gardening.
He's on 21, Dylan Douglas. And this one nudges it nicely down to that fine third-man position.
A real deft touch.
Yes, it was.
You know, just open the face and just nudged it between the keeper and third man and raced away for 4. The total now on to 85. Practice again finds himself on the receiving end.
Ah, yes. And Dylan Douglas showing his class there. As he said, nice deft touch off the bat. Practice turns to the top of his mark. Delivery again, this time finding a point fielder. Or should I say that's more of a backward point. And no run resulting, the total remains on 85 for 4.
Well, some 2 deliveries remaining in the over. Douglas on 25. And Darren Ned, he's on 2. 85 for 4. We are in over number 10.
Practice just
decided to go wrong the wicket.
yes. And Douglas drives out along on and finds the fielder. 1 run resulting. Slaps his pad in the process. Probably was thinking he should have gone over the fence with that one.
Well, didn't get through, got a single. Total goes on to 86.
Here comes practice this time to Ned. And Ned is just pushing this one into that cover position. Captain Padel is there picking it up. That's the end of the 10th over. And at the end of it, the Windward Islands batting first here at Parker in this T20 practice game. They're 86 with a loss of 4 halfway through the innings.
Yeah, so going at 8.6 runs and over, if my math serves me right.
Right on.
So I think there are 10 overs remaining. Douglas, if he can stay there for at least another 5 overs, should be able to put the Windwards with a pretty decent total. But really, I think Nepal have pulled things back a bit. They were going at 9 runs and over. They are now under 9 runs and over. And the changes continue to be wronged by the...
That's Padel.
That's Padel.
Yes, the Nepalese captain. And, well, of course, halfway, as I said, through this innings here for the Windward Islands Volcanoes. The 86 for the loss of 4, another 10 to go. And maybe if they can get it up to 9 or 10 runs per over in the last 10 and minimize the number of wickets, they would lose. Certainly a score of 180, 185 thereabouts. Should be an
Something to
interesting
fight
one.
with. So Bertel comes into the attack. Sporting number 14 on the back of his shirt.
And Burton, he's had a good series, of course, with both bat and ball. This time coming in and delivery that is worked down to long on. And one more. Now 87 for the loss of 4. So that's Douglas moving on to 27. As the young Darren Ned just making sure that his guard is correctly marked. And here comes Bertel. Ned pushes into the onside. And Bertel goes around fielding to his own bowling. 1 more added to the total, 88 for the loss of 4 wickets.
So they're just about knocking it around and waiting for that loose delivery to Ponce. But good, sensible cricket on the part of Windwards because they have lost a few wickets and it's really in a rebuilding process.
So here's Bertel. Delivery. The batsman appeared to be in 2 minds there, Douglas.
I think he got the googly. That one came back into him. He was opening up to hit it on the offside. It came back into him, and he had to adjust and got it down to a wickets. You're in a real building process. No need for that wild swing. He's looking to use his feet. Didn't get to the pitch. He was beating all ends up. An easy stump in there for Anil. And the total now 89 for 5.
So 89 for the loss of 5. Darren Ned certainly just giving it up there. And there you have a look at the main pavilion at the Parker playing field. Again, a nice, lovely playing field nestled in the northeastern side of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. New batsman coming to the crease, I believe it's Descartes.
Yes, this is Descartes.
89 for 5. This the 11th over. And a bit more pressure here on this Windward Island Volcanoes team. A regional franchise that have produced the likes of Sonny Lambris, who's injured. Of course, the likes of Johnson Charles, who's playing for the West Indies T20 squad. Spiceman, Fletcher, our very own Obed McCoy, they're all part of this outfit. But of course, all assigned to West Indies duties. This delivery is outside the off stump, and this Carter just rocks back and maybe should have done a little better there. But in the process, some scrappy fielding gets one in the process, and now 89 for the loss of 5.
The score goes on to 90.
Yeah, that's the 90th run.
He's off the mark immediately, not timing it well, but getting a single in the process. And Douglas, who is on 28, comes back into strike.
So, just mention a few members of the squad. The likes of Owen McCoy, he wasn't selected in the final 15, neither did the Spiceman, but they're still being kept in the West Indies camp. This delivery outside the off stump and played into that point position off a very quick single. No, he was sent back as a matter of fact.
He was sent back, and luckily for him, the return came in very quickly indeed. So a pretty good over by Anil, by Bortel. And at the end of over number 11, it's 90 for 5 at the Park Hill playing field under very cool conditions here. With Dylan Douglas, he's on 28. With him is Shadrach Descarte, who is on 1. And really, Nepal would be satisfied so far with their work.
Well, it's 11 overs gone, and the Rhode Islands, they were maintaining a run rate of 9 per over. But, of course, with the loss of those 5 wickets, being pegged back a bit. And it's somewhere in the region of just over 8 runs per over. As
see, look at Dhaka being switched to the northern end.
There you have a nice aerial view of this very lush outfield here at Park Hill. And Shadrach Descarte settles over his batters. Saga Dhaka bowls, and this delivery tucks it off the legs into that square leg position. Fielders off the deep square leg boundary, picking it up, and 1 more added to the total.
He goes on to 2, and much appreciative crowd here at the Park Hill playing field. And it's really customary, once there's cricket at Park Hill, you do get that appreciative crowd who would always be here taking in what is going on.
Douglas pulls and pulls. Well, that's gone. That's 6. And that's probably the 10th ball that we've lost in that over the last 3 days.
Well, it really rebounded. It came back because it landed on the lower part of the hillside. It was short of a length, and Douglas was very quick on the back foot and just swung it over long on. And he goes on to 34. The Windwards really would want him to stay there, with the total now on to 97 for 5.
This delivery drives down to long on. And they'll only get 1. They're looking for a second, but either long they will have none of it. Getting it returned quickly back into the gloves there of Anil. For a moment I thought it was Asif who was behind stumps for the Nepal team, but it's actually Anil doing the glove work today. Would not have seen him in the last 2 games and getting an opportunity in this, the final game. This time, Descarte works into the onside. Looking for the second, but it's not there. And quick rook again by the Nepal team. They certainly improve on the outfielding.
Well, they have, and one would say that what you have seen, they are pretty quick over ground.
So here comes Saga Dhaka, Anil, some instruction, but Dhaka comes in now. And this delivery just works back on the onside there by Dylan Douglas.
It was fast and flatter. Windwards 99 for 5.
This is the final ball of the 12th over. And the Douglas wrapped on the pad is a loud appeal there by Dhaka, but the umpire will have none of it. Not interested. That's the end of it. It's 99 for the loss of 5 after 12.
So 12 overs, 99 for 5. So 8 overs remaining. One would want to think that Windwards would love to see Dylan Douglas and Descarte really taking it right down to the wire for them. And because both these batters can really hit the ball a pretty long way. And if they stay there for at least 4 or 5 overs, I'm sure we are going to see some boundaries.
Well, Dylan Douglas, of course, certainly has been the aggressor. And maybe it's important that Descarte, who certainly has the ability to power it also, can play more of a holding role Quite naturally, if you get the bad delivery, you will give it the treatment that it deserves. But for the sake of the Windward Islands having lost 5 wickets, they won't want to have both batters, pushing it too much, so to speak.
Well, we wait to see. It's going to be Bortel to continue.
This time he's coming to bowl to Descartes, and Descartes swings at this one. Didn't get any bat onto the ball. And
I think he was deceived by the bounce.
He was, because he's chuckling at it. You can see that wide grin on his face as he goes down now to have a chat with Dylan Douglas. And Douglas telling him, well, chap, you just need to keep your eyes on it. That one certainly had you a bit bamboozled. So there's Bertel tossing the ball from hand to hand. And we now move past umpire the ball to Descartes. Descartes looking again for that wild swing. Got a bit of a pad onto it. And that's one more one. Well, signal a wide.
Wide, so 2 runs to the total.
I really truly thought he got a bit onto it, but such was not the case. So the 100 is up for the Windward Islands. They're now
101.
For a loss of 5. 101 for the loss of 5. As Bertel now comes in this time to Dylan Douglas, and Douglas tucks it around. Just quickly off for the first one, looking for that second, but he'll have none of it. And it's now 102 for the loss of 5. So Bertel keeping things quiet here.
Well, so far he has kept things pretty tight, and Nepal would be happy with it.
Descartes pulls this one nicely. That's 6. And that is what he was aiming to do for the entire over, and finally getting that
I
on the
think
ball.
the 3rd attempt at that shot, and in the end he made good connection, sailed over the backward square for 6. The total goes on to 108, and he would need a couple more of that to push the Windward's total to somewhere in the, if you're looking at 170, 180.
It's 108 for 5, and this is the 13th over. So Descartes showing that he can muscle it, and did so over the backward squares. Bertel comes in, and this time he's pushing out at that one into the offside. Fielder comes around, picking up in that cover position, and one more now to 109 for the loss of 5.
So Descartes was just content to push it into the offside. Swung the previous delivery for 6. It was not there for that shot, so he was content to just drop it on the offside and pick up the single and bring Dylan Douglas back into strike.
There comes Bertel once again. And delivery that is pulled down to long on, and one more resulting. So that's the end of the, is it the end of the 13th
End
over?
of the 13th over, 110 for 5 here at Park Hill, and Douglas. In fact, I thought the over was completed, but we see Butler having a word and still 37, but Descartes would keep strike, so 7 overs remaining, and these two would meet mid-pitch to have a conversation. You can see that smile on their face. I'm saying you didn't time that one well, but in the end he's still there. But Douglas signaling to the pavilion
For
the helmet, so one anticipate that we are going to see the medium pacers coming back. It looks like Karan.
Yes, Karan it is.
Sporting number 33 on the back of his shirt. And so Captain Padel continued to ring the changes.
So there's Douglas with a bit of a grin on his face. Maybe he likes the faster stuff. Possibly saying, well, this is my turn to certainly put a bit more on the tins for the Volcanoes. One 11 for 5, and it's the 14th.
There's still some heavy clouds around, really just hovering around the Park Hill playing field, but so far we continue to have play. Just hope that we do not have any downpour.
Descartes is forcing this one into the offside and can only find Rohit Patel in the way. And the having a little bit of fun with it.
And you can see Descartes just rehearsing the shot, saying I should have hit that a bit squarer. And finding the gap. But it was, he stood tall and just punched it out to extra cover where Captain Padel picks up rather easily.
So here's a stockily built Karan. Bustles in now to bowl to Descartes, and well,
not timing it, it was short, bottom edge, and it bounced back to the bowler. So 2 deliveries, 2 dots, and Karan would feel very happy about that. Descartes would be disappointed in himself, saying I should have put those away.
So here comes Karan outside the off stump, but that's wide. It was high, it was wide, and absolutely no chance for this guy to get a bat onto it.
Signal by umpire Bayam. He was jumping, looking to slash that over third man, but it went above him, and the total now on to 112. But earlier there was a breeze blowing across the ground, but that has subsided.
It has.
And
it's a little bit more humid. We have the cloud cover, and just a gentle breeze, not the kind of flowing breeze that we've had early on. But here's Karan. Descartes just places it, and well, misfielded there. Just when we were talking about the good work in the outfield by the Nepalese team, Bertel letting that one through.
Yes, well, I think their ground fielding has not been up to standard. They have covered grounds, they are getting there, but not holding on to the balls, and in the end sometimes giving away that single. And that was a perfect example there from Bertel, where he got there, didn't hold on, bubbled behind him, and the batters went through for 1.
So Karan, under the tutelage of Roddy Eswick, who was once part of the West Indies outfit, but helping this Nepal team, especially with their bowling. Karan. This time to Dylan Douglas. Gets one outside the off stump. That's wide signaled indeed. 1 to the total is 114 for 5.
Well, Douglas was winding up there looking for that big drive. It was wide, and he just watched it go by and signaled by umpire Bayam. Wide, 114. 114 for 5. So Karan would have to reload and come again.
I was just talking about Roddy Eswick, who certainly made a tremendous contribution to the West Indies team. The likes of Corey Collimo and company certainly was under his tutelage. But now lending assistance to the Asian team. And this one is hit over long off, and that's 4 runs. For a moment I thought it cleared the fence, it didn't, but 4 well taken runs.
Well, 4 good runs. It was pitched up, and Douglas launched into it and hammered it 1 bounce over a widest mid-off and into the fence for 4. So 118. Douglas, he goes on to 40. And I think there's a little drizzle around the ground.
I'm not seeing any.
Play will continue.
Yes, well, we see the groundmen now making their way to the area of the covers. As a matter of fact, the covers.
The umpires have called the covers.
The covers are coming on.
So there's a break in the innings at 13.4 overs, 118 for 5.
$118 for the loss of 5.
So Douglas really leading the charge for Windward Islands. He's on 40, not out, as company with Descartes, who is on 10. So there's some rain with us, not a downpour, but certainly enough to stop play here at the Park Hill playing field. And we can see the ground staff busy ensuring that the square is covered.
I'm a little bit concerned because there's still a bit of it on the edges that is a little bit exposed, as a matter of fact, at the run-up. And
well, I think we have seen from the ground staff very quickly in with the covers from both ends and ensuring that bowling area is covered. And one does not anticipate a very long downpour. It's drizzling rather heavy, but not the sort of rain that we expect to see the outfield being drenched.
Well, certainly, and we do hope that it's not extended. I'm still concerned that little area that is a little bit exposed at the southern end, and now we see they're going to try and bring the covers over. That's what I'm talking about. Right. So we don't have a...
So we are being held up momentarily, and I'm certain that it won't be for long. I'm not anticipating this for any length of time, Eddie.
All right, so after
13.4 overs,
1-1-1-8 for the loss of 5. The Windward Island Volcanoes batting first in this T20 practice game here today to the Park Hill playing field, and still very much in the middle. We have the reserve umpire having a look at the ground staff as they...
It's Chelson Stowe from Beckwith, the Grenadine Island of Beckwith, and the game being carried by umpire Byam and Butler. So the ground staff still tidying up.
Still very much the position here. But the Volcanoes, again, one area that they certainly need to work on is that patience at the crease. Yes, for T20, you look to try and keep that pressure on, so to speak, on the bowling team. But there've been some atrocious shots.
Yeah, so I'm totally in agreement with you, Eddie. Some of the shot selection really leaves a lot to be desired, and for example, Ned just ran down the track, had a wild swing. So again, you have to be patient. There comes a time when you get a good delivery, and there's nothing wrong with giving it some respect, or you try to play with soft hands, try to get it into the gap, look for ones, look for twos. And if you keep turning the strike over like that, no bowler like to be scored off all the time. He's going to try something, and so the chances of getting a bad delivery would increase, and then you get it. Here we are seeing a replay, and that's where Melius, where Kamal Airy got a very good delivery, coming back into the right-hander, right through bat and pad, knocking the middle stump back.
Yeah, that was a beauty of a delivery. That was the delivery of the game thus far.
And you see him wide on the crease there, getting it to come right back into Melius, who just pushed the foot down the track. No movement of the feet. And it's an observation with the contemporary batters. Initially, long ago, you find batters with the first movement will be back and across. Now they were saying to him, look at their foot, just coming down the track there, their back foot, as you write, just anchored, and he went right through the gap. So, it's still with the drizzle, and there was Hodge picking a practice out of the ground. Salazar, they're edging to the keeper. Had to make his way back to the pavilion. There was Douglas just dispatching that over mid-wicket.
All right, we're just having a replay of some of the
Early actions.
Early action, certainly. Dylan Douglas, who's still at the crease for the Rhode Island Volcanoes. And one of those towering sixes over long on. Went into that air about 3 times thus far in his innings. So the downpour continues, Charlo, and what we'll do is certainly just to give our viewers some of the highlights of what is taking place thus far. Welcome back, and we're about to have the resumption of this game here this afternoon at the Park Hill playing field. We had an interruption due to rain. Joel, I don't know if you have any information as to if there's going to be any reduction in the overs?
Absolutely none so far.
So the Volcanoes, they will continue. There are 118 for the loss of 5. And the Nepal team, they're back in the middle.
Well, from all information, Eddie, there are no reductions in the over, so we'll have the regular 20 overs.
Once there are no further interruptions. So Karan will continue his over.
$118 for 5.
Here comes Karan now, balls to Douglas. Douglas hot. Well, this one peeled off the top edge of the bat, and that's 6 runs.
Well, he was shaping to go up, and Karan was short, and he got underneath it, got a top edge. I think the intention was there. Didn't cue it well, but he got the result that he wanted, and that went sailing.
124 for 5. So the Windward Island Volcanoes immediately off to a good start following the resumption.
124. First delivery after the resumption went for 6.
This one is nudged into that short third man position.
And he was disappointed in himself.
Yes.
Should have done better. That was steered right to the man at backward point.
So it's 124 for 5 after the 15th over. We have 30 more balls to go in this, the Windward Islands innings. And there we see both batters in the middle, Dylan Douglas and Chadwick Descarte, having a mid-pitch conversation. And they're saying, well, maybe it's time for us to have a go.
Time to push things on. So Douglas is on 47. Descarte, he's on 12. 6 overs remaining. And these two would really want to push things further on for Windward Island Volcanoes. It's going to be Bertel to continue. So far, he has done a pretty good job.
Without a doubt, he's had 2 very good overs thus far. And it seems as if the rain we had absolutely no impact on the outfield. It's more or less soaked up because we've had very, very dry conditions over the last 5 weeks here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. To this delivery, Descarte punches down the lawn, one bounce into the fence, into the road behind us. That's 4 runs.
That was hit with some power, and it flew past the man at long on, and across the ropes it went for 4. So he goes on to 16, 128. You would need to see a few more of that.
Well, these two showing their early intent as we have a resumption of this game, interrupted for some 20 minutes thereabouts due to rain. And since the resumption, there is an uptick in the scoring rate. Bertel. And ball a little wet in hand. There might be the need for the towel at some point in time to try and keep that ball as dry as possible. And this certainly can be a problem, especially for the spinners.
Particularly leg spinner, and that's what Bertel leg spinner is a bit difficult for him.
Comes into Descarte. Descarte hits this one high. And there was Long trying to get there, but doing so no vain. 6 more runs.
Well, it's Karan on the boundary. He's a diminutive individual, not the tallest of the lot. And he was jumping for all his work, but that cleared him. And it went across over
Just the roof here at the pavilion, the main pavilion.
Well, I think that there is some adjacent lands cultivated on the other side, and that landed somewhere in that area. And really a good clean strike there by Descarte, who is showing his intent. And we mentioned that he has that ability to hit the ball a long way, and that was a good demonstration of what it means for Descarte. So pressure on Bertil. I think the first 3 deliveries have gone for 16.
So as I said, the intention of the Windward Island batters as they came back into the middle is to try and push on and put as many runs as possible on the board should there be another interruption. At this point in time, there's no threat of rain, but we can see some darkish looking cloud to that northeastern area.
Well, we have a faint, some sunshine, not the brightest really.
Bertel again to the Scarte, outside the off stump, and that signal wide. And umpire Butler.
Bertel being pushed under the pumps, he decided I'm going to pitch it a bit wider. I'm not going close to the Scarte at all.
As you say here locally,
I think he went too wide.
Yes, looking to hide the ball. Here comes Bertel against the Scarte, and outside the off stump, a punch into the onside, down to that deep backward point position. And one more resulting. It's now 142 for the loss of 5. 142 for 5.
And we're in over number 15.
So Dylan Douglas, he's on 47. And he will pretty much want to get over that 50 mark and press on here for the Windward Islands Volcanoes.
Had a 50 in the first game. And so he has had a good series, if you can say that.
Bertel, it is. And the delivery that he punches into the offside. Curran comes in, and one more to Dylan Douglas, one more to the Windward Island Volcanoes. Now 143 for the loss of 5. As Bertel will bowl now, this is final delivery in over number 15. Opening batter for Nepal. He's had some good knocks in the series thus far. This time to the Scarte and outside the off stump, and he had to really and truly feel along with that one.
He chased it. Didn't get the placement that he wanted. In the end, just tugged it to the extra cover fielder. So over number 15 comes to an end. 143 for 5. And Douglas, he's on 48. Shadrach Descarte, he's on 29. And 5 legitimate overs remaining in the Windward Island Volcano innings. Any predictions in terms of what sort of total you think they can muster at this time?
Well, at 10 runs per over, they're going to get over the 190 mark, and that's a total I believe Captain Millis would certainly like to see his team achieve here this afternoon. They did 196 in the first game and had Nepal under immense pressure, and then of course remember Irie and Songpal just simply took it away.
Definitely. And the second game total up to 170 yard, 179. They got 180.
And the Windward Island Volcanoes, after a good start, just felt like dominoes.
So Sampal comes back into the attack.
Songpal, of course, along with Irie, who's not in this game, had a good knock, and this one is pushed up to that mid-wicket position, and a bit of a misfeeling there.
Well, that's what pressure does. Again, the misfield. Dylan Douglas, he was running, he was looking for the second. That's his 50. And he forced the fielder. He looked up, took his eyes off the ball, bobbled it, and Douglas was back easily for the second run.
Well, Douglas, he scored an even 50 in the first innings, in the first game, I should say, and then he lost his wickets. Let's do hope that such is not the case. He's exactly in 50 once again, and with some 29 balls remaining, he really want to press on here for the Windward Islands. Delivery that he was looking to scoop, and got just the bottom edge. He's looking at it, he ran a single there, but maybe just a little lucky there, Dylan Douglas. So 145 for the loss of 5 with an Island Volcanoes. Douglas is on to 51. And Descarte, he's not out on 29. 146 for 5. Sumpal.
So Douglas 50 coming in, 28 balls, some 3 4s and 4 6s.
Pretty good strike rates. Very good strike rate there on the part of Douglas. Faces up now to Sumpal outside the off stump and just works it into the offside. Picked up there by Asif, who's known more for his wicket keeping on the outfield today, based on the fact that there was an injury to Irie. And Anil been given the glove today, one of 2 wicketkeepers in this Nepal squad as they prepare for the T20 World Cup 2024. So there's Asif getting a bit of a experience as far as the outfield is concerned, Charlo.
Yeah, sure, he's enjoying it.
He's on that deep long offense as here comes Sampal to bowl to Dylan Douglas, and Douglas pulls nicely, 1 bounce into that final boundary, 4 runs.
Douglas got into position very, very quickly indeed, and he really played it well. Away from just every fielder, there was a man on the long boundary, and he just swiveled and dunked to wide fine leg and into the fence for 4. So the 150 comes up after 15.4 overs, 151, and Douglas goes on to 55.
You really want to push on here, and with good support coming from Shadrach Descartes, who's not on 30. The Volcanoes in the 16th over well set, of course, to get close to that 190 mark, as here comes Sampal to bowl to Dylan Douglas. And this one he works into that short third man position, picked up there, 1 more run in the process, 153 for the loss of 5.
I think Sampal a bit disappointed, was looking for the Yorker, but it was outside the awesome, and Douglas came down, opened the face of the bat, ran it down to backward point, and he went through for a single. And you can see the disappointment in Sampal, clapping his hands as if saying, that's not what I wanted.
152, correction to score. Dylan Douglas now out of 56. Descartes now will face up to the final delivery of this, the 16th over, as Sampal moves past umpire Bayam. A delivery that he hits straight back over the head of the bowler. Fine shot.
Sweetly played. Sweetly played. Bisecting the long off and long on. You don't have fielders in that direction. And it was deliberately hit over the head of the bowler, and into the fence it went for 4. So 60 on the car at the under 4 for number 16. Some 24 deliveries to go. And Descartes, he goes on to 34. Douglas 56. Sure, they will be having their eyes on 200.
Well, at 160 for 5 after 16, exactly 10 runs per over. With another 4 overs to go, if they can maintain that 10 runs per over, it's 200 on the board.
I'm sure they would have their eyes on that. So let's see. And it's Airy who comes back into the attack. He has had some early success. So he has 2 scalps, and now he's coming back in the 17th over. So Padella ringing the changes. It's going to be Douglas who is on strike under cool conditions. And Douglas is quite ready, but I don't think, yeah.
Douglas pulls over mid-wickets, and he might very be caught second. And a bit of disappointment there for Dylan Douglas, gone for 56. And of course, a very important wicket there for Nepal.
A very important wicket, but an observation here, Eddie, is that for every over that Airy comes in, he picks up a wicket.
On the first ball.
I think the very first over, I think he picked up a wicket in his second delivery. The second spell, he got it in the first ball, and here it is for the third over, he got it in the first ball again. So he has made that early impact for Nepal, and Douglas very disappointed as he had from the Ovia area, north of the country. And he joins Shadrach Descartes, who is on 30. So Brown, immediately he would be on strike.
Dean Brown faces up and gets one right up, but he does well. Punches into the onside. Long on comes off the fence. He's off the mark. It's 157 for 6.
Well, 157 for 6. And Descartes comes back into strike. He has been there for quite some time. So he would have to lead the charge here for Windward Island Volcanoes.
And certainly he has shown without a doubt that he has that ability, Shadrach Descartes, to face now to Irie, who's taken up, what, 3 wickets?
3 wickets so far.
Irie, almost a 30-meter run, comes in out. A bolter shot, Jack, and walked nicely into that square leg position. Asif comes off the backward square leg fence, and he should have been the one receiving in the glove, but tosses it back into the gloves of Anil.
Well, you can see he's enjoying his field, the outfield for a change. And so the left-hand, right-hand combination, and you can see the fielders changing over, so too the umpire. Javidine Brown comes back into strike. 158 for 6. They started 35, Brown on 1.
Here is Irie. And Dean Brown to this delivery. Works it fine. And Blair, that position, picking it up. One more added. 159 now for the loss of 6. And just having a look at the fingers there of Irie, not on screen. Sorry, of Asif, who's on the fence there. They're heavily strapped. And maybe a situation where you might just well be given an opportunity to rest them.
Well, certainly. And, well, I think sometimes it has become a common practice now that players tend to put tape on their fingers more for protection.
And wrapped on the pad, a loud appeal. Nothing there from umpire Butler. The scamper through for a single. And one more to the Winner Islands total in this the 16th over.
I think he got an inside edge into that because he was looking to whip it on the onside.
160 for 6. So Irie has, after an onslaught from the previous over, he's pulled things back here.
Very nicely as well for Nepal.
So the breeze have picked up a bit here. And this delivery hits in the air, and Karan is getting under it and takes
Easy
a very,
catch.
very easy catch. That's the 7th wicket gone there, and Dean Brown going for 2, 160.
Well, it was a short delivery and he was looking to slap that. Taking the top of the bat. There it is, short and really about shoulder height. Looking to slap it somewhere. Got a top edge. Karan had shot extra cover, had a very comfortable catch. Didn't have to do much. And the Windward Island Volcano losing their 7th wicket.
And they're certainly losing their way. You know, since the resumption, of course, you had Dylan Douglas and Descartes taking the attack to the bowlers. But since then, of course, they've lost Dylan Douglas. And now we see Dean Brown making his way back to the pavilion.
So Airy has picked up 4 wickets.
He's picked up 4 wickets. But very importantly, of course, taking the Wooden Islands back. And from a situation where they were in a possible 200, might very well be 180, 185 if they can get that far.
Yeah, so Asif Hooper, the left-hander, goes out to join Descartes, who is also a left-hander. And start changing bowling at the far end. We see Practice comes back into the attack.
So Practice this time to bowl to Descartes. And looks like Rostam, and he cracks it square the wicket. 4 well taken runs there off the bat of Descartes.
I think that's a bread and butter shot for a left-hander. Short, wide, and he hammered it past backward point. That's the strength of a left-hander. And into the fence it went for 4 at 164 now for 7. And with that boundary, I think Descartes would move on to at least
40.
40.
164 for 7. And Practice, of course, will continue. But it's actually Gulshan from the northern end.
Yes, Gulshan.
So we're having some changes in the field here. We're trying to find Captain Podell as to exactly his station. That's quite a lot being done, but here comes Gulshan now. And this delivery is wide outside the off stump. Descartes was thinking about pushing and batted it, but even if he had done so, I doubt he would have gotten any back down to that
Well,
one.
he was shaping and he just watched it go by because he recognized that it was that wide. An umpire up front by him very early. I was signaling wide. So additionally, he has to reload and come again. 165 now for 7. Asif Hooper yet to face a delivery. Not has really had the best of series in terms of the bat. And has some 2 overs remaining after this, so not much chance to really settle.
The start to this one is driving and missing outside the off stump. And pulls away. A bit of a wry smile. And now, as you saw in the background, they're looking to replay that shot that he possibly should have played in the first instance. Total remains at 165 for the loss of 7. As we hear spectator in the background belling out some instructions to the Scotty. This delivery. It's up in the air and one bounce. Fielder comes around, stopped it in the process, and one more added. But I believe he was just a little lucky there.
Well, he got a top edge and he just lobbed more or less and dropping well short of a backward point when the sweeper at a wide third man was able to come around, cover grounds and into the and save 3 runs.
So Gulshan will continue after there's a bit of a mopping up of the ball. Will turn now. There you see the playing that short fine line going right back on the fence. And Gulshan will continue. This time to Asif Hooper. Hooper pulls and nicely and beats the fielder on bounce. 4 more runs. He's off the mark.
In style.
70.
In style.
Certainly.
Short of a length into the hip and he just pivoted and then down to the backward square, to the left of the backward square, who couldn't cut it off and it went across the ropes for 4. So 170 for 7. I think there's still a delivery or 2 in this over.
Still 2 deliveries to go. So some 14 deliveries left in this inning. So the Winning Island Volcanoes, they're 170 for 7. And they should very much still be eyeing that 200-run target. Gulshan. Hooper was looking to work that again into that backward square leg position, but got it wide down the leg side signal there by umpire. Didn't get any batter to the ball, and 1 more added to the total. 1 more to be bowled by Gulshan. So it's 171 for 7. Wrapped in the pad is a loud appeal. So I guess I'll score it and not being as attentive as ought to be. Misguiding me on the screen, but such is life. Is that one final delivery coming in now to bowl to this party and wide outside the off stump. Another wide.
Another wide signal. So he will have to bowl that again. Total now on to 173.
173 for 7.
Seems as if the pressure's taking its toll on Gulshan.
Well, let's hope he can wrap the over now with this illegal delivery and driven.
And some no ball.
Well, Is he going to ever finish this over? And well, there was an opportunity to run out the batter there in Descartes, and the wicketkeeper dropping the ball in the process. It's certainly a comedy of errors out there.
It's total comedy of errors, and I think it was pretty suicidal on the part of Descartes. He coming back for that second, but the keeper really should have done well. Descartes should have been out by miles, dropping his bat in the process, diving full length in, and then the keeper tumbling over the batter. Really looking a bit comical.
Certainly. So we're still awaiting for this over to be completed, and a bit of attention being given there to Descartes. The freeze is out for the Windward Island Volcanoes, and she will now return. And this is something we see creeping into West Indies cricket. A lot of females are being given the opportunity to perform the duty as physio. We saw it, of course, with the St. Kitts Nevis franchise. As a matter of fact, it appears that the entire medical staff were all female.
Well, there's certainly there's performing the roles. There's no separation.
So this has been a very long 18th over.
And it's good to see females are now taking up what was traditionally that male role. And we have seen it even in the construction industry.
Gulshan goes to Descartes. Descartes hits this one high over long off and pulls the bit there for the camera. Lovely shot off the bat of Descartes.
Well, it was in the slot and he just lifted it. And that he is saying, that's what I want, right in the slot, and he just lifted it over wide long off for 6. And the total now 181. That's the completion of over number 18.
Finally, I believe it was a 10-ball over.
Yeah, it was a pretty long over indeed.
Some 3 wides and a no ball.
And 18 overs, 2 overs remaining. Descartes, he's now on 49. 9.5 century. Asif Hooper is with him, he's on 4. And they have that long mid-wicket conference in, perhaps strategizing how they're going to deal with the last 2 overs.
Well, 12 balls remaining, 19 more will get them up to 200. They will certainly want to push over these two, Hooper and Descartes. Both, of course, they know how to bludgeon, if I can say this cricket ball. And the Nepali attack certainly will want to ensure that they restrict these two here in this the 8th wicket partnership for the Windward Island Volcanoes, as Irie,
who has 4 wickets under his belt. Final over, I'm sure he's eyeing that 5 wicket, as we would say, a 5-er.
Well, let's see if he can make some damage here as Asif Hooper repairs, and Hooper just pulls it into that backward square leg position. There comes Asif off the fence with a beautiful return into the glove of the wicketkeeper. So he's really and truly doing some fine work there in that backward square leg position.
Yes, he's doing some work, and 2 runs to Hooper, who goes up to 6, the total now 184. And sure, Airy would fancy himself picking up a 5-er.
Well, he has 5 more deliveries in which he can possibly do it. 184 for 7. Hooper at the end there will have different thoughts. And Hooper at this time goes fine, and Asif couldn't get there this time around. Well taken there off the bat of Asif Hooper.
Well, Asif Hooper, and there's Asif in the outfield, but Asif just couldn't cut that one off, and it went past him like a bullet and into the fence for 4. So Hooper now into double figures, and the total now rushes on to 188.
So the 200 looks pretty much on the cards for the Volcanoes. They're 188 for 7, and this is the 19th over, with still some 10 legal deliveries to come. And Irie, who has certainly had a good day with the ball, picking up some 4 wickets, coming on for a little bit of assault in this final over. As he comes in now to ball to Asif Hooper. And Hooper pulls, and will only get 1 as Karan is in that deep mid-wicket boundary.
And immediately we can see Hooper looking at the bottom of his bat. Not timing it, really hit the bottom of the bat and just lobbed out to a deep mid-wicket area. And he got a single.
189 for 7. There you see Bertel doing a little bit of mopping up with that white handkerchief. And I will now move in now, this time to bowl to Descartes. Descartes, that's into the final.
And there's the ropes.
Wow. 6 runs there to Descartes. So, 189 for 7. And there we see Captain Padel coming over just to have a chat with his bowler. And just 2 more deliveries remaining. It's 195 for 7. So the Windward Island Volcanoes might very well be scoring the largest total in this tournament thus far.
So Descartes 50 off 25 deliveries, 4 fours and 5 sixes.
So Irie,
He's scoring boundaries.
comes in out to bowl to Descartes. He's walking into that one and wrapped in the pad. Gets a single in the process. I believe it's going to be a leg by. It is being signaled a leg by. 196 for the loss of 7, and they equal the top score thus far for the series.
Well, definitely. So good comeback on the part of the Windwards. And definitely 200 is really on the card. Some, 7 deliveries remaining? 196 for 7. I'm sure they would fancy themselves getting up to at least 210.
Well, Irie currently at the top of his mark. And probably try to make amends, this time to Asif Hooper. And Hooper hikes this one way over the deep backward square leg fence for 6. Well taken. And the 200 is up on the board. The 202 for the loss of 7.
Well, certainly a very productive over indeed on the part of the Windward Islands. Airy, who had 3 good overs, picking up some 4 wickets, really was taken to the cleaners in this last over. And both Asif Hooper and Shadrach Descartes enjoying themselves. Descartes bringing up his 50 off 25 deliveries, 4 fours, 5 sixes. Asif Hooper joining the parties. He's on 17 with 1 6 and 2 fours.
So with 1 over to go, 6 balls remaining. We think these 2 out there will probably like to push on to 215, possibly. You never know, up to 220.
Well, certainly.
Well, it's going to be some part of his.
Yes, Sampol to bowl the final over.
And there we see Hooper and Descartes having a mid-wicket chat. Hooper saying, "Look, let's go, mate. Let's really take it to the bowlers. This is the final over. The bowler, I should say, with Sampal. And there's an aerial view. As you notice that the sunshine is back with us here at Park Hill. As you see those shadows. And here comes Sampal. First delivery of the final over. And Descartes hikes this one. He's possibly going to be out caught. He is out caught. And there goes wicket number 8. So immediately striking in this, the 20. That's back to the dressing room. That's
a bit disappointed in himself.
Yes.
And we see Larry Edwards making his way out to join Asif Hooper.
Well, Edwards will take strike. And he also, if given the opportunity, can hit it. And hit it a long way, Larry Edwards. He's known more for his off spin than anything else. But Sampal was struck, I should say, in the first ball of this 20th over. Would like certainly to ensure that things are kept very much that way for Nepal. Comes in now to bowl to Larry Edwards. Edwards punches into the offside. Mid-off comes in. And it's good. Good play there from Edwards. Immediately getting Hooper, who's the in-batsman, to take the strike.
And that's very sensible on the part of Larry Edwards. So Asif Hooper comes back into strike and show he will be fancying himself and clearing the boundaries on a few occasions, but Sample would have other ideas.
203 for 8, 4 deliveries left. This one is hit high and hard. The fielder's coming around, and is he going to take it? Does so. And if there's one thing with this Nepal team, they have not dropped a catch.
They have done a lot of catching practice from what we have seen earlier, and they're taking their catches. Their ground fielding is what really creating the problem, and we can see. So that's the ninth wicket, 203 for 9. As I think is what? Redhead making his way out in the middle.
So there goes Asif Hooper making way for Redhead. And with 3 deliveries to go, over the 200-run mark. But Parker is of such that if you don't bowl properly, you will certainly be finding yourself going over the ropes pretty often.
So some 3 deliveries remaining in this 20 overs. Can Redhead survive?
Delivery that he has to pull out of. And really and truly pounded in the pitch there by Sampal. And Redhead certainly going to
one of the things that Sampal must remember that fast bowlers have very good memories. And Redhead being a fast bowler himself would push that in the back of the head, so to speak.
Patrick Patterson remembers what happened back in the 80s there in Bridgetown, Barbados. As this delivery, Redhead looking to work it off the hip, didn't get back to ball. It's wide down the
right signal by umpire.
But the story is that Patrick Patterson was bounced, I believe, by one of the Australians, and immediately went to the Australian dressing room the afternoon and said, tomorrow all of you are going to be dead. And so said, well, not literally, but he
came
really
out with guns blazing.
with immense pace. And had the Aussie batsmen in all sorts of tangles. But this is a different type of cricket that is happening here. As Sampal comes in out to bowl to Redhead. Redhead gets back onto ball into the offside. 1 more to the total. It's 204 now for 9. That's 205 for 9.
I think the final delivery coming up.
1 more delivery to come.
Yes. So 205 for 9. Larry Edwards comes back into strike.
So Edwards to face the last delivery. 205 for 9. Sampal. Very long run up. Larry Edwards, and he cracks it into the waiting arms there of Pratish. And it's 205 all out.
Yes, 205 all out of the final delivery. And the win was getting 205, but Sampal coming on in the final over, picking up some 3 wickets in the final over. And really, I saw the demise, what we anticipate, what looked like 210 to between 210 to 15, ended up 205 for
all out.
All out. And I would think that the Windwards would still fancy their chances, having posted a defendable total.
Well, 205 certainly is a good total on the part of the Windward Island Volcanoes. And we certainly commend the likes of Dylan Douglas, who certainly had a good innings. Melius, of course, in the early part. Descartes, yes.
Asif Hooper with a little cameo to the end, and really would have done it for Windwards to ensure that they got over 200. As we can look at a drone shot here, nice surroundings really, and very appreciative crowd here at Park Hill as well. So one could understand, and there would be a lot of advice later when the Windwards take the field.
So that's the tent that is facilitating the Nepal team here at Park Hill. We are going to take a break at this point in time. There will be a light roll applied to the pitch here at Park Hill, and when we come back, of course, the Nepal team, and they'll be asked to score 206 for victory in this, the third and final practice game here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines as they prepare for Cricket World Cup T20 2024.
So just a bit of the scorecard. Keman Malia Scott, Bol Kamal Airy for 12. So Melius Bol Airy 12, Stephen Pascal Bol Saka Dakal for 20, Kavem Hodge caught, Asif Bol Karan for 18, Jeremy Salazano was caught, Asif Bol Airy for 3, Dylan Douglas caught, Gulshan Bol Kamal Singh Airy 56, Darren Ned Stump Anil Bol Bortel for 3, Descarte caught, Bortel Bol Sample for 55, Dean Brown caught, Karan Bol Kamal Singh Airy for 2, Asif Hooper caught, Gulshan Bol Sample for 17, Larry Edwards caught, Practice Bol Sample 1, Nicholas Redhead not out on 1, and the bowling, Karan 3 overs, no maidens, 24 runs, 1 wicket. Practice 2 overs, no maidens, 15 runs, no wicket. Kamal Singh Airy 4 overs, no maidens, 44 runs, 4 wicket. Gulshan 3 overs, no maidens, 48 runs, no wicket. Saga Dakal 3 overs for 16 runs, 1 wicket. Bortel 3 overs for 35 runs, 1 wicket. And Sampal 2 overs, 16 runs, 3 wickets. That's a breakdown of the batting and the bowling lineup, and in a few minutes we will see Nepal coming back to do battle here with the Windward Island Volcanoes.
Mountains, aye, man, woman, jai, brown, Vincy, hands up high, and let me hear you say.
girl by my side. I tell them all the while, we don't have no gold nor oil. But we have wonderful people rich with beautiful smiles. From the hills to the mountains, high, high, high. Every man, every woman, every child. If you're proud to be Vinci, put your hands up high. And let me hear you say, this island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Vinci me come from, and I will never sell out my heritage. So if you're looking for me, don't worry, you can find me up in the hills. I'm doing it the Vinci way. I wish every day was Vinci Day. So if you're proud of your country, put up on your hands and say, from the hills to the mountains, high, high, high. Every man, every woman, every child. If you're proud to be Vinci, put your hands up high. And let me hear you say, this island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Jump and say, jump and say, jump and say. This island is mine. Wave and say, wave and say. Whoa, yeah. Rattler, Skinny Palace. This island is mine. Oh, 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 oh.
In the heart of the Caribbean lies a hidden gem, a paradise waiting to be explored, where every corner tells a different story, a place where nature finds its solace. Each swaying palm, each grain of sand, crushed volcanic rock have formed black sand beaches that surround the island. Gentle waves kiss the shore, inviting you into its blue waters. Each beach a canvas painted with the hues of paradise. As the sun sets, the rhythm of life continues with the beat of the Vinci culture. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines,
Response from Nepal as they seek to overtake the 205 set by the Winter Island volcanoes. The volcanoes out in the middle, and now we see Asif and Bertel. Not on screen just yet, but they are making them win to the middle for Nepal.
Yeah, so Asif sporting number 9 on the back of his shirt, Bortel number 14. And these two would start the battle for Nepal. And it looks like Ned, who is going to start the attack from the southern end, and the road end. And the northern end is the Paul Best Center end. And cool conditions here at Park Hill.
Just about 4:27 local time. And the whole matter
No interruption, we should be finished by 6.
by 6, and I hope that the light does not become an issue as we get close to the 6 o'clock hour. We've lost the sunshine here. There's absolutely none here at Park Hill. There's certainly a bit of a cloud cover and no immediate threat of rain as this we see our first delivery. Ned to ball is, well, couldn't keep it out of the fence there. He dived to his right there for all his worth, but Nepal is off and 4 without loss.
That's Larry Edwards. That was short of a length outside the awesome. He opened the face of the bat. That's Bertil. And ran it down to a wide third man. Larry Edwards on the third man boundary was running for all his word. Dive. Got a hand to it. Couldn't keep it back. It went over the rope. So 4 runs to Nepal and they're off and running.
So Bertel the batter. Ned to Bertel. And spanks it into the offside square, the wicket for 4 more. So Edwards being roughed up early. And that's the response from Nepal.
And it immediately brings a change in the field. So I think he's going to push in a point that was short of a length, and he stood up and just hammered it through point and into the fence for 4. So back-to-back boundaries for Bertil, 8 off the first 2. So pressure very early on Ned, and he will want to make some amends. Melios just doing a bit of adjustments. So the long on has been pulled in off the boundary and the point has been placed right back on the fence.
Ned. And Bertel pulls over mid wickets. As a matter of fact, he spooned it. He's out caught by Descartes. For a moment I thought he had the power on it, but he skied it. And Descartes came in and took a very, very simple catch.
Well, it's a very, very simple catch indeed. And just to the start of the innings, ADI was having a chat with the coach of the Windward Island Volcanoes. And he was saying he saw enough that if you give the batters the room, they are going to dispatch you. But if you could keep it close to their bodies, that they're not too comfortable with it. That was close to the body of Bertel. He was looking to pull that over mid-wicket. Didn't cue it well. Descartes at mid-wicket took a simple catch. And he has to make his way back. So early success for Ned. And that should do his confidence a world of good.
Certainly. Having gone for 2 boundaries in his first 2 deliveries. Coming back in the 3rd delivery to pick up the wicket of Bertel, who was really looking to be in fine flowing form here at Park Hill. But we've seen the back of him. 8 for the loss of 1, and the new batsman is Anil. So we have 2 wicket keepers in the middle, and Anil and Asif.
Well, they would have to keep the bowlers out.
They have to keep their wicket, certainly, as Ned mops his brow at the top of his mark. And will now turn as a new batter in Anil.
Bertil in the 3rd delivery. So some 4 deliveries already and 9 for 1.
Ned. And this time Asif, it spoons off the top of the bat for 6. Into that 3rd man position.
Again,
and one will say maybe a lucky
yes,
shot.
very fortuitous indeed. He was in no position for the shot. He was just waving the bat, took the top edge, and with the pace of Ned, flew over 3rd man, clearing the boundary by some distance for 6. So 15 for 1. And perhaps when one looks at it now that they are going on the advice of the coach, keep it close to their bodies.
So an unfortunate day for Ned. He's gone for 15 thus far in his first 5 deliveries. He's picked up the wickets of Bertel. Very importantly, of course, Bertel, we know what he can do. And back in the pavilion. But quite fortuitous on the part of Asif. Mohammad Asif Sheikh. He's out. He's not out on 6. And Ned will turn at the top of his mark to bowl his final delivery of this, the first over. Races in now. Bowls to Asif. And Asif for this one peels off the outer edge. And some good work down in that 3rd man position. Batsman, I believe, picked up 1 in the process. 16 for the loss of 1 after the first.
So they got a good stop by Larry Edwards on the boundary there. That was traveling. It peeled off the outside edge and it was really traveling. Larry Edwards, I think, going to his better hand, was able to stop it. And in the end, 16 for 1 at the completion of the first over. So a decent over for Nepal, but lost the wicket of Bertel in the process.
Well, the Volcanoes will be pretty happy picking up the wicket of Bertel. Ned might be spanting a little the fact that some 16 runs came off his first over. So one might say somewhat even Stevens in the first, as Redhead is going to pick up the attack from the northern end. And this tall Grenadian, structurally built, will certainly want to do as Ned did, to pick up a wicket or two in this first over.
So the opening pair, both Grenadians.
Both Grenadians. There comes Redhead. And holding to Asif, and Asif plays it down into that third man position. That's Ned there under the third man fence. Gets the ball quickly back into the gloves of Dylan Douglas. And the total is on by 1 to 17 for the loss of 1. Redhead. Those broad shoulders of his. And kind of built that you expect from a fast bowler.
Yes, he's about 6'3", 6'4", and broad shoulders.
Runs away from the northern end now to bowl. This time to Anil. And punches into the mid-on position. And fielders quickly in there, but can't stop the single. One more. 18 for 1 and good running.
Larry Edwards, good. He's covered ground very quickly, but good running on the part of the batters from Nepal. He just played it with the soft hands. Edwards had to cover some grounds, and they threw very easily for the single.
Anil Kumar. He's on 1. It's 18 for the loss of 1. Redhead at number 32 on his back.
And he's starting from just outside the 30-yard circle. It's a pretty long run.
Comes in now to bowl to Asif, and Asif works it again down to that short third man. They offer that quick single. He's run out. Is he?
Umpire Butler says not out. He was in a perfect position, but I think he's just about making his ground. And Butler very quickly. They do not have the benefit of the replay. Butler very quickly shaking his head and saying not out.
Let's have a look at this. It's not side on, but it looks as if he might just have got that
I think
bat
he
in.
just got the bat in from where we are.
Let's look at it now. And a different angle. Yes.
Yes, he is in.
He's in.
So good work by Butler.
Good judgment on the part of umpire Butler, as Redhead comes in out to Bolton Neal. Sa was looking to probably get this one down to long on, and got the outer portion of the bat trickled into the path of the wicketkeeper, and total remains on 19 with a loss of 1. Nepal chasing 206 for victory, and there's a little bit of a quietness around the ground. This person's just simply observing what is taking place in the middle, Charlo.
Well, you definitely can tell where the support is coming from. And picking up a wicket here, I'm sure the crowd will erupt.
Redhead into Anil Sa. And Sa skies this one. And there is Kavem Hodge getting under it and takes a well-taken judge catch. Well done there by Kavem Hodge. Wicket number 2.
Well, perhaps I predicted it. As you said, getting a wicket here, the crowd will come to life, and they certainly did. Hodge making very good judgment there. He was settled, he took it, and the second wicket goes down at 19 for 2.
Let's look at this replay here as Hodge settling onto this one and bucking it in. Conscious of the ropes behind him, but certainly did well, and taking the second catch of the innings for the Winning Islands. Nepal, they're 19 for 2.
Well, certainly he was very mindful of the ropes, and he was very quickly turned around to see how far he was, or how close he was to the ropes, and took a good catch. And it's 19 for 2 as we see Captain Rohit Padel comes out to do battle. So he has a job on his hand to pull his team out of the hole that they find themselves in after 1.5 overs.
So 19 for 2, the diminutive Rohit Padel. Very short play indeed. And mindful of the fact that he has a lot to do here if Nepal are to make their way up to that 205 for victory here this evening. They're 2-0 in this practice series as Redhead races past the umpire Bam, and Padel flashes of one wide outside the off stump, signal wide by umpire Bam. So that's 20 for 2. Nepal in this the second over. And Redhead shaking his head a bit, saying, how could I have pulled that so wide of the off stump? Well, he looked to make amends and moves in now to bowl to the Nepalese captain. And this one's off the edge. Races into the third man fence. And